these streams are starting to begin a little bit earlier every single time, but it's always worth to do the beginning bit a little bit early. That way I can get on with the stream properly at 8 o'clock. Let's do this now then. Wait for everyone to come in. Hello, Josh. Good to see you. Oh boy, my stomach is really rumbling. I've just had dinner, so it should be rumbling that much. Okay. Live streams, that's gone down by quite a bit. See that one there. Since you're here, Josh, have you done some research on the drive wheels, about getting them quartered? Have you managed to look that up yet? Because that's basically one of the most vital things when it comes to using drive wheels on Lego trains, or at least wheels that have piston rods. So I'm very gassy today, good lord. Okay, so that's all there. If I go back, that should now be saved. Station on. No, hang on. I don't know if any of you can hear that, but my stomach is making some of the weirdest noises. Live, okay, good. I'll get rid of that one. We don't really need that one. There we go. The stream is up running properly. Now then, let's do the Discord ping, shall we? Oh yeah, I need to. So, okay. May as well update this now. So... Good. Check. Check. Haven't done that yet. I don't know if it was drive units or the way it was built. So let me read it on here. Haven't done that yet. I don't know if it was the drive unit or the way I built the base that the unit's attached to. When the loco would go over a curved track, the plates would snap apart. Okay. Snap apart. Come on, stomach, I need you to settle. Right. Not literally snap, but disconnect. Yeah. That way. That's it's a very unique problem, that. Oh, hang on. Oh, okay. What am I looking for? That's a right mess, this. And Seth breaks there, you are. Right, let's do the Discord ping. live now. My stomach is still making rumbling noises. Everyone. How many people are in the server today? 214. We had a couple of people go, it seems. Oh, very well. Gen chat. Ah, yeah. Back up there. Fine. Okay, so first of all, Josh, I am very keen to see what the hell is going on with your drive unit. If you can get it, if you can get a quick video of it going over points or a curve that shows how it's snapping, then that would be very helpful. Otherwise, I'm not going to be able to help troubleshoot it any further. The only thing I can really suggest is to just restart that module. As you restart it, again, core to the wheels because that does still genuinely help. But what's making them snap at what? Again, not snap because disconnect like you said there. But what's making the parts come apart? I have no idea what could be causing that. Currently not home. Oh, we're putting against you. Okay, fair enough. Oh my god, I didn't miss it today. Yes, hello, Lego Railway Series. Very good to see you. So it is now 8 o'clock officially. So here in the UK, the clocks went backwards by 1 hour today. I failed to mention this when I did my initial stream announcement for tonight. That there is obviously that bit of confusion where clocks go back for certain time zones. Apparently, for Seth over in Australia, it was a month ago. So yeah, I don't know if other countries are doing it a little bit later on or if they already have done it. Hello, Squid. Good to see you. And every year on the date of the accident, it runs again, plunging into the gap, shrieking like a lost soul. Is that a Thomas quote? Like one of the ghost stories? Or like one of the narrow gauge spooky stories? The dreaded daylight savings. I would rather it was daylight savings because now in the UK, it's going to get to about 4:30, 5 p.m. and it's going to be pitch black outside. But yeah, it's not fun doing that. It's dark and miserable in the UK anyway. Like, come on. The opening quote from Ghost Train. I'm trying to. Oh God, help me out here. Somewhere in season 2. Yes, that episode. Aha. I've also got with me Old Reliable. I've just pulled this out of the fridge. It's plenty cold. Ah, oh, lovely stuff. This. Fresh full bottle as well. Yes, the burp juice. It's back. Well, I'm wondering if this will sort me out because my stomach is not shutting up. It's rumbling. I don't know if any of you can hear it. You shouldn't be able to. But it's really loud. I've just eaten my dinner, so this shouldn't be happening. But I don't know. So yeah, this is going to be a very interesting stream. There'll be moments where it goes quiet for a second. You'll just hear from my stomach summoning demon sounds, basically. Right, hello everyone. Welcome to tonight's live stream. I have been very busy today. So for the past 4 or so hours, I have been doing some recording for the Brick Railway Builders podcast. I have recorded 2 episodes today, which is insane because first of all, they are lengthy episodes because it's a podcast after all. Oh, there it is. There's number 1. And having recorded 2 episodes back to back is quite insane on the basis that I've got 2 episodes in the bag straight away. So after this stream is concluded, I will be uploading the next episode as a premiere. So it'll be this time next Sunday, where the next episode of Brick Railway Builders podcast will go live. Again, every single episode will be going out as a premiere, so that will be lovely stuff. So oh, there's number 2. I'm really malfunctioning today. This is not that good. This ain't good. Anyway. So yes, next week, again this time next Sunday. Second episode of the Brick Railway Builders podcast is coming out. The guest for that episode is fellow LNUR/LUKR member Ed the Shed, and it was a lovely conversation to have with him. Um, that is going to be a shorter episode, which is not a problem at all because not everyone can carry a conversation as well as other people. I'm definitely one of those people, which is also the point of the questions that I have lined up for my guests. And with the other two that were recorded today, they will be going out in the coming weeks as well. Again, this time slot, Sunday evening, 8 p.m. UK time, is podcast time, basically. And I don't know if I'm going to get any streams done in between. I think in the initial post I said I was going to prioritize the podcast, but I do want to make sure that every Sunday it's not going to be just podcast. I want to try and get a live stream done in between, and depending on how my work schedule goes as well, because I tend to work Saturday evenings. That kind of takes up the time slot opportunity for me to do a live stream on Saturday. And ideally, if I can get a stream done on Saturday and the podcast on Sunday, excellent. That's what I really want. But it's still something I'm trying to figure out. I think let me actually find the post. What did I actually say? I need to find it on YouTube as well because Discord, darkness. YouTube with the light setting on, you can see me. So, I'll get to that in a moment as well. A couple of other announcements I need to go through. The podcast, here we go. Come on, YouTube, speed up already. No, not that one. I need this one. So what did I say? No, oh, for crying out. Too much. All right, fine. I'm gonna have to find it on Discord. It's causing too much lag. I don't like it. Come on, Discord. Don't let me down here. Sign up. I need that one. So podcast will be streaming every Sunday, 8 p.m. UK time. When we from the business. No, Okay, so I didn't say that. Hang on. In place of my regular weekly live stream. So when a new episode is ready, it will take priority over the weekly stream. Yeah, so I did say that. Okay, so next week and the weeks following, I will have new episodes of the podcast ready to go. Okay, so I suppose I'm relying on the Saturdays for the future live streams, I suppose. Yeah, I mean, there's potential for it. I mean, it's not going to be common, but so long as work permits. Oh, there's number 3. Now then, before we get into the big stuff, so if you have seen the title of the stream, TLR Ghost Story. So yes, I have written a ghost story of sorts, surrounding what would basically be Triton Lego Railway lore. Ooh, how exciting is that? So the idea of this was basically a dream, a snippet of the story is basically a dream I had yonks ago, and it was enough for me to remember it when I woke up in the morning, and the idea never left my mind. When a few other ideas came to me in terms of this story, I just started writing, and then eventually it became its own thing. There's no connections to anything that I've done with my models. It's just a story. And I like to call this Triton Lego Railway lore because I can picture this in my mind and it would be really cool to see as its own thing. So I will be reading that for you today. This is my Halloween special. This is a stand-in because I'm not one for Halloween. I not gonna lie, some ideas I've had came from dreams and memory. Yeah, I remember a time years ago as well where I used to try and record or like parts of. I had this sort of big. What was it, like an A3? So how big was the book? Like an A3 page book that I would basically call my dream journal. So when I wake up in the morning, I would try and write down the dreams that I had, or as much as I could about it, just to see if there was anything there. This was years ago as well. After like 3 days, I gave up on it because it was so stupid. But yes, what were we talking about? The story is its own thing. Before we go to the story, there are a few announcements that I need to go through. So back over to Discord. First of all, new podcasts, episodes coming up. Yep, lovely stuff. Next, my biggest Lego show of the. Oh, that is not a lot of light. I'll have to. Yeah, I'm gonna have to go to YouTube for this one. Oh, there was another stomach crumble. All right, where? Let's go to this one. Yes, so my biggest Lego show of the year is coming up in November. The 19th and 20th is the Bristol Brick Show, which is the biggest Lego show. Discord Light mode. Is there a Discord Light mode? Don't tell me after all this time there's a Discord Light mode. The thing is, if that's not a real thing, I'm dumb enough to believe that's a thing. I'll look at that. It's not a thing. There is. I'll look into that later. Okay. Oh my god, Discord Light mode. Oh, don't do it. The thing is, I every single day when I have to use, or every single time rather, I have to use Discord for something like that. I have to figure out how to use Discord again, so it's really frustrating. Tonks Train 17, hello, good to see you. Thank you very much for making it to the stream. Hope you're doing okay. Anyway, so yes, Bristol Brick Show. This is my biggest Lego show of the year with the Lego user group that I am in. It is the best opportunity I have this year to get my full layouts together. At the LUKR members meet earlier in the month, I was able to get my layout together there. But that was only for members to look at. This is a full-on public show. And I'm very excited for this show because, again, it's nice to be in front of so many people and to have the full layouts on display. This will be the last time I get this particular layout on display and together, because after this, I am going to be starting progress on the next version of this layout. Um, Space arrangements at home have changed where I can potentially get the layout together at home, and that is what I'm really hoping to have happen. Now, this isn't going to happen anytime soon, or at least from my understanding of things. So yeah, it's not going to be like an easy thing for me to show you what I've been up to in terms of layouts updates, but that is definitely something I'm going to be doing, and I'm very excited for it as well. But yes, this Lego show is going to be a very fun time. There should be some club mates coming along as well. I've been able to kind of sneak them in, which is pretty good. So yeah, should be a really fun weekend. Also, I don't know if anybody has seen this particular update, but I'm going to be taking part in a concert, as in singing. Yeah, this is happening. So first of all, this is a concert that is being held over Zoom. It's going to be done as a Zoom call. I have made a post on Discord and over on my YouTube community tab. So the links to where you can buy the tickets are linked in that post. Tickets are £3 per household. So if there's about, I don't know, let's say, the family of five want to take part in watching this concert, you only need to buy one ticket. So the one ticket, with the one camera, everyone can just sit in that particular hub, if that makes sense. I am going to be singing a sea shanty. It is the longest John's version of Drunken Sailor. Now, this is where I kind of cheated. I have already sung this, I've pre-recorded it, and I've sent it to the host of this concert to be played. I'm going to be there watching the concert anyways. I bought my tickets. I'm going to be there in the audience as well. I'm not going to be singing live. Well, yes and no, because again, I've pre-recorded my song, but it makes more sense with how what's the word I'm looking for? With the arrangement of things. So hopefully, if you choose to buy a ticket to watch this concert, the way I've set this up is better than how I'm doing it here and now. Obviously, it's me sat here like this, but there's more than one me. I won't spoil any more because I want people to come along and sing the concert. So this is supporting a couple of charities in association with a disease called ME, which basically means chronic fatigue. And there is a person I met a good while ago who is suffering from this. So this is a personal sort of charity for her. And yes, it is interesting for me to want to take part because I've never been a singer. You can hear my voice now. This is not a singing voice, and yet I gave it a go. So, very brave and all of that, but it's a charity event basically. So come on buy a ticket, and you can see this Lego train doofus sing a song. It's going to be quite the something. It's going to be held on Saturday, the 17th of December, 3 p.m. UK time. I'm afraid I'm going to have to leave it with you to figure out the time zones for that. And I think the last update I can really provide before we get on to the ghost story is with the Giants, I suppose. So to anybody who is following me on Instagram, I posted a small. Let me get the post up because the picture I took is a really good pic. I'm so happy with this. I have recently finished construction of my third new era Giant. Even my phone is lagging. Great. There we go. Okay. So I need my posts. 220 followers on Instagram. That's something, I suppose. Oh, Christ, is my volume all the way down? There we go. So, let's see. There we go. So, this is a teaser picture of Giant number 3. If you're not following me on Instagram already, first of all, make sure you do so. Luke TLR 10194 is my username on Instagram. And that is a little teaser picture of sorts for my new Giants. I'm going to try and get this video done. Maybe not tomorrow. Well, maybe tomorrow. I should have time. I need to record the community challenge video tomorrow, so I'm going to get that done and prioritized first. I might be able to record that showcase video tomorrow, but I'm not going to be able to post it until later on in the week. Other things are coming up, and of course, they take priority. Speaking of videos, I'm also going to try and make sure I can get some more YouTube shorts made because goddamn, the shorts are getting up so many views. It's actually quite annoying. Oh, I post a main channel video that gets about 300-400 views. I post a short and it gets 1,000 views. Like, oh, for God's sake. Why? The logic does not compute. Anyway, I can see that there is a few new comments in the chat. I have a question. Would you build a Reverend W. Audrey Thomas? I was tempted to in the past because there's a guy on. Well, I don't know if he's still here in the chats. That's the word I'm looking for. The Lego Railway series. In fact, the podcast that I did with him, which you can find on my channel, it went on my channel last week. He discusses his model, and there is a picture of said model during that podcast. It's a beautiful looking model. And this is one of those models where, given how excellent his model is, I would rather just look at that instead of try and build my own version. I don't think I would even go for one in the future, to be honest, because it's not really my sort of thing. It's a very basic model, and I would not really want to recreate. Yes, your freelance 042 Thomas, that one, beautiful design. But given that it's its own wooden toy, I feel like if you tried to make a Lego version of it, it wouldn't be. Not to say it wouldn't be good, because again, Lego Railway Series, who's here, has made an excellent version in Lego. But it's just not something I would want to build, basically. I feel like it doesn't need its own Lego version. I'm not motivated enough, at least, to want to make one. Seth and Josh here talking about me singing. Josh says, I can't sing, but I can only compose. Yes, that is correct. So Rock Band Hyena here has a lot of custom music tracks made for his video game franchise. I strongly suggest to all of you to go to his channel and give them a quick listen. Give him some support. He's a lot better than me at making music. But yes, he's got some excellent pieces. And Tonks Trains also says, I have a question. Do you still have your Lego Emerald Knights engine, or did you scrap it? The Emerald Champion. Yes, the Emerald Champion has been scrapped. What video was it? Because I was thinking about this a couple of nights ago. Pardon me. The first one? No, 'cause it wasn't a vlog. Was it? No. Yeah, so a vlog I did in January, I think. I basically had all the parts of the Emerald Champion after I scrapped it kind of in piles. So that is, well, January was when I last did anything with it. Oh, the actual Emerald Knight engine. No, I don't have it anymore. I've bought 3 and all 3 are scrapped. I've used some of the parts for the coaches for my own version of a Sodor Express coach, which I kind of really want to do another version of because Lego Railway Series, who's also here still, has made an incredible version of that coach, and that's kind of made me want to make my own version again. I'll have to look into buying some tan train windows, honestly, because, well, not by Lego, by like Blue Bricks, for example. It's just going to be, yeah, hell to pay for them, expensive and all that. Right. Who's pinging me on Discord? What do you want? Okay. I can get rid of that. See, I can get rid of that. Seth says I can only sing extremely low notes because high note of voice. So hang on. Oh, I've had that built up for about 5 minutes now. You can only sing extremely low notes. Can you sing bass? Can you basically sing bass? I will be very jealous if you can actually do that, because my voice can't really sing, like it can't go to the point where I can sing bass, but I would love to be able to do that. Elijah Stewart, hello, good to see you. How's it going now? We'd love to see our blue gooses together side by side. One day, yes, that would be very cool. I am still amazed at the time where I discovered your blue goose model, basically at the same time as I was finishing my blue goose model. Very cool. Oh, actually, that reminds me, since you're here, did you win one of the categories for Brick Train Awards? I feel like you did. Did you? Opinions on Brackland Bricks? They're excellent. I have bought rods and wheels from Brackland Bricks. I can fully recommend them. When my voice dropped, it dropped a lot. Yeah, fair enough. Right, we have been stalling for long enough. Let's look at some lore, shall we? Okay, we're moving a bit closer. I'm going to hopefully get this all read in one go without any interruptions. So how many pages is this? I've made the fonts much bigger so it's easier to read. So this is page 9. So there's 11 pages. The font size is 20. And I've given this a proofreading. It might not make the most sense as I read it out loud. I'm going to try and read it in a coherent way as well. But the idea, again, is just, this is just its own standalone story. Because it's spooky themed and the fact that it's just near Halloween, it's just a good time to read this. The fact that I have it written up at this time is genuinely just a good coincidence. Otherwise, the stream would be happening and would be replaced with a podcast episode. Hang on, chat's going again. I bought medium wheels for my Lego Thomas model. Oh, that's good. And yes, I did win best T4 model with the Yellowstone. Yes, it was you with your Yellowstone. Lovely model, that. Okay. Right. I'm really sorry for this. I mute the stream for a couple of seconds. We're going there. Oh, this is not good. Okay. Right, without further ado, are we ready? That long that we probably have been ready for the last 15 minutes. Okay then. So this story is called The Diesels of Doom. The idea of this story is that someone on the Triton Lego Railway has to make the horrifying trip to a small sectioned off island. That's not how that's supposed to be spelled. So one of the employees of the Triton Lego Railway has to cross a bridge to a small separate island where the island's scrapyard is located. And the scrapyard, of course, has its own little economy, I think the word to use is there. And it's also run by diesels. But interestingly enough, it's only run by diesels, not a person in sight. And for whatever reason, these diesels seem to have a couple of tools mounted on them. Think Diesel 10, except a little bit more menacing. And the diesels are much more massive. Right then, let me just do one final check of the chats. We got a good amount of people here. We're in good time. So here we go. Once again, I'm going to do my best to try and read this in a coherent way. I do apologize if I stumble. I never write scripts for my videos because I can never really read them properly, which is also part of why the font has been exercised? No, has been extended to this size. So hopefully I can read this and not sound like a robot. Right, here we go. If this goes well, this will be captured as a stream highlight. Okay, Diesels of Doom. My railway used to have a scrapyard. I'll never know why, but it was the most horrifying place I ever saw. To the southwest of the Triton Lego Railway is an island. This island has a railway bridge connecting the two. There's nowhere for boats to dock or planes to land. The only way to get there is via that bridge. And that's getting there safely. You see, on this island is a scrapyard. Once a quaint little hub, now a place of railway evil. The bridge has numerous gates on it, so if you want to get there, it will take you about a day to do so. There are many gates on purpose, giving whoever dares to go across every single chance to turn back. It's impossible for anything or for anyone to escape that island. All the controls are outwards and facing away from them, so any island dwellers never access a chance to freedom. The first problem I had was with an old friend called Jay. I loved that man so much. He was one of my closest friends. He was tasked with taking the usual shipment of scrap to that island to be processed. The railway was crafted to where the scrapyard couldn't really fit on the mainland. Simply put, he never came back. After 2 days, we went there to investigate. We initially thought it just took him longer than expected to deliver the shipment. We searched the island twice over. All we found was an interesting looking diesel in what looked to be a newly crafted yet hastily built shed. It was silent. No one in the cab. No one was around. More time went by and I had no choice but to declare Jay dead and the body missing and left the island alone. Pardon me. We made a gate at each end of the bridge to make sure no one goes there again. Jay never married or had kids, so he had no next of kin to really inform of his loss. He was a bit of a loner, sadly. And, well, I went back on my decision to use the island scrapyard after 8 months, as we couldn't organise our waste efficiently on the mainland. Visits were successful in getting rid of our scrap, but after every visit, just to play it safe and a little bit of superstition, we added a gate to further prevent anything from getting off of that damn island. Nobody trusted it. And some folks stopped trusting me. Beg your pardon. Nobody trusted it, and some folks stopped trusting me at all when it came to that island. The last time we had any trouble from that island was when I sent Dan over for another shipment of scrap. Same old rounds, security hit him with the handling of the gates. Nothing that hasn't been practiced before. The last security is on the island itself and cannot be opened remotely. The gate, this gate, is the worst one, and of course, it's on the island side. So long as you have something in the way of the gate closing, you can get out without any harm. Dan, however, forgot to do this, and he was now stuck on the island, haunted by something we never knew or even saw. Once I got word that he was trapped, I sprung into action, right away with the rescue party. It took days. Beg pardon, again, struggling to read. It takes over a day to go through all those gates we put into place on that bridge. Every second that passed, I was thinking of Dan. Jay was not the only person the railway lost to that island, but I never told anyone what the final body count was. And to those wondering, including Jay, we lost 4 people. I'm not a religious man, but I was praying that Dan was still alive. I have no idea what goes on that island. Dan began to smash his fist on the gate, yelling into the void, hoping someone could hear him and open the gate. It was approaching the evening. Dan was still going at it. Then someone did hear him. Or something? Dan suddenly stopped pounding on the gate and turned his head around as far as he would dare. He tried to use his peripheral vision, but to no avail. He kept his body facing the gate, ready to run if it miraculously opened. He heard a growl in the distance. Is there an animal on the island? Is that an engine? Dan saw a nearby building and legged it to the front door. He got inside and slammed it shut. Seconds later, another growl was heard. This was much louder. What the hell is out there? He said, unsure if he should yell out to whatever was there or to whisper to himself. A couple more seconds later, an enormous diesel rolled by, shaking the ground as it rolled past. It approached the gates, where the railway lines met the gate itself. It froze to a stop. A hissing noise came from the diesel. Dan looked up and noticed a claw at the end of an arm mounted on the roof, and it began to turn. It moved fairly slowly. Dan was peeking through one of the windows when the claw snatched itself into position. It was facing Dan, almost as if it was staring at him. Once the claw stopped in Dan's direction, he gasped and fell below the window, hoping he wasn't seen. Was he seen? What was going on? Another moment went by when the diesel's claw arm began to move again, and it focused its attention to the tank engine and the scrap wagon that now resides on enemy turf. Dan was forced to abandon it to find shelter. He peeked up again to see the situation, and straight away the claw dashed at the front wagon buffers and lashed the entire wagon off the rails. Dan gasped again. Was the diesel waiting for him, just so he could be permitted to witness this truck's demise? The claw was turned from the side back to face the front, where the tank engine sat. One moment it was on the rails, the next it had its funnel chewed off. The diesel made grunting noises every time the claw lunged at the poor tank engine, as if it was a snake striking at its prey. Dan couldn't believe what he just bared witness to. Did that diesel really just destroy that tank engine? Swallowed it? Another thought came to his mind. Is that claw looking at me again? Dan blinked, and suddenly the diesel's claw was pointing towards him. The diesel came to life by growling and rolled back down the line next to where the building that Dan currently resided in. Dan didn't know where this was going, so he stepped away from the entrance. He looked around for another exit. Thankfully, he found one, and he checked to see if it was unlocked. As Dan was testing the door, there was a great crashing sound behind him. The diesel had smashed through the front door with its claw. Dan screamed in fear, then smashed through the back door and ran. The diesel rolled back further down the line. Luckily for Dan, the line didn't go in his direction, and the diesel was leaving. Dan took notice as to how grand in size this diesel was. It was taller than any other locomotive he had ever seen. It was crazy how wide it was. And why on earth does it have a hydraulic claw? Dan kept his thoughts to himself in case the diesel could somehow hear him. He made his way across the island's border, and that's why that's incorrect. Beg pardon. He made his way across the island's border fence. Too tall to climb, he thought. And that front gate is impossible to open from this side. Dan had two options: wait for someone to rescue him, or look for another escape. Dan was brave. He was ready to escape, but he wasn't going to spend the night here if he had the option. He continued walking in the direction that was far from any railway lines, using debris as cover. He then spotted two more diesels in the distance. These were truly massive machines. Dan thought to himself, Luke's Giants are one thing, but these could give him a run for his money. He kept thinking. Where did these diesels even come from? We never sent any full locomotives here, did we? Diesels especially. Dan was left alone with his thoughts for a few minutes when he spotted a few more diesels to appear. The first few arrived and stayed still so Dan could see them. The others that joined made it look like a gathering. He could see 5, all as massive as each other. Dan zipped up his jacket to try and stay warm. Then, all together, the 5 diesels began to raise their roof-mounted tools, and they slowly turned in the air above the diesels. 2 have claws, one has a bucket scoop, one has this spike mace-looking thing, it's hard to tell at this distance, and one had an evil-looking jagged spike. The tools were all slowly turning, when suddenly the bucket scoop halted in the direction where Dan was standing. Again, how could it know? All 5 diesels reversed and disappeared out of view from where Dan was stood. Time to move, he thought. He looked around. He couldn't see railway lines, but they weren't too close. He predicted that if a diesel showed up, he couldn't be reached. He began to pace along the border fence once again, still too tall for him to climb over. As he carried on, the daylight began to fade, and Dan was getting really scared. He came across another building, quite large in overall size. As he was getting closer to the door, he could hear a diesel coming the other way. The building was close to the tracks, but it was better to be in the shelter than to be out in the open. He dashed to the door, swung it over, and closed it behind him. Hello, Jamie. Sorry for the interruption. We were live and watching you. Thank you, guys. Thank you. Right, I'll have to break the story just one sec. You're joining me. Well, this is why I'm not in the call, by the way. If you're watching me, fine, fair enough. I'm currently telling a railway-themed horror story. Thank you, guys. Right, where was I? You missed the first half. Okay, back to the story. He dashed to the door, swung it open, and closed it behind him as quickly as he could. The diesel was outside, almost stopping outside where Dan was hiding next. A moment later, it ground to a halt. This one had a claw. Dan was piercing out the window every now and then to see if the diesel was out there or not. Time was feeling eternal, but that was no concern compared to the monster that was waiting for him on the outside. The diesel was tall, very tall. Dan couldn't guess how tall or how wide. Beg pardon. Another typo. The diesel was tall, very tall. Dan couldn't guess how tall or how wide or how long for that matter. He was too distracted by the claw mounted on the top. Something so evil looking. He could even see it from this angle. Looking up at something just so horrifying, the claw looks like it was made of robot's jaws, ripped off and sharpened in every place and in every possible way. It looked like it had an edge on every single angle and duplicated to turn it into a mouth that could swallow a person whole. Dan's focus on the claw made it turn, almost as if it was twitching. Maybe it knew Dan was there, but couldn't break through the wall to snatch him. Why are these diesels so tall? He thought. The one that caught him was still there, persistent as ever. Its claw was slowly retracting. Half an hour went past and the diesel was still there. It knew that Dan was still inside. It waited, patiently, eerily, hauntingly. Dan saw a corridor behind and towards the back of the building. Apologies again for the disruption. Thank you, Luke. That's people from my LEGO user group, by the way. To those of you who are wondering who's here. Where did I get to? Eerily. Shut up, Jamie. Anyway, where was I? Here we are. Dan was still inside. It was waiting patiently, eerily, and hauntingly. Dan saw a corridor behind towards the back of the building. Where it was it somewhere it could go? Somewhere safe? Maybe not safe, who knows? But away from that diesel. It was a chance he had to take, so he went for it. He followed the corridor and soon found stairs heading downwards. As he began to go down them, he could hear the diesel start up again. A moment later, it went silent. Dan's curiosity got the better of him, and he went back. He tiptoed every step. He knew he had to give all his efforts into being as stealthy as possible. Even if it takes him days to get home, it'll be worth it if he means he's unharmed, even though if that wasn't what he wanted. Before the corridor entrance was a window, mostly intact and somewhat covered up with wooden boards. There was a good enough opening for him to see down the railway line and see the corridor slightly to the side of the hut. Dan took one step closer, and straight away another large diesel came racing into his direction, coming down the other side of the line. The one that could reach Dan. He was startled and jolted back. Thank goodness that he did, for the diesel raced past, and as it did so, it smashed right through the window with his giant spiked mace. Why the hell does a diesel locomotive have a mace of all things attached? He thought to himself. As he stepped back through the corridor, the diesel came back and struck the wall again where the corridor was. The wall didn't break, but Dan didn't have hope that it would last long, so he turned back around and sprinted towards the downward steps. But it was like the diesel could hear his paces. The diesel's mace moved back and then whacked the wall once again just before the steps. Dan got down the steps in the nick of time, as this time the mace smashed through the corridor, leaving a massive hole where he once stood. Dan stayed down the stairs, and the diesel kept its mace through the wall, wiggling around to see if it could find Dan. And then it growled loudly. Its growling attracted another diesel. Down the stairs was another corridor, going underground. Dan declared this to be safest place so far. The corridor was dark. It was only getting darker outside. Dan could hear the rushing and whizzing above him of those evil machines who were eager to get their tools on him, growling in anger and frustration. Stand by. Dan emerged on the other side of the corridor, coming back to surface level. As he poked his head up, he saw and heard yet another diesel coming in his direction. He looked around to see the hatch had come out between the tracks. The diesel could stop right on top of him. Dan saw the diesel coming. This was the one with the evil spike. The diesel kept rolling forward as the spike was lifting up and ready to strike down where Dan was stood. Dan tumbled back to escape the evil spike, tumbling down the exit stairs in turn. Thankfully, it was enough to dodge the attack. You could see the tip of the spike through the trap door, knowing that it would have been the last thing he ever felt if he wasn't swift enough. The diesel, however, was forced to keep moving afterwards, stopping a distance after the opening, and gave Dan a moment to flee. He took that chance. Going back wouldn't be productive, so he braced himself and he ran for it. He emerged from the opening and began to run. As he took his first steps out, he noticed numerous railway lines all next to each other, side by side. He had to cross lane after lane, and to his horror, every single diesel on the island began to appear on both sides, all of them tall, menacing, their spikes and claws ready to grab Dan. Dan glanced both sides and instantly kicked into gear. This was a race he could not afford to lose. He sprinted across the lanes with every diesel reaching out for him. Each lane he made it across had the diesel on both sides thump into each other. Dan made it across. Only just. But he made it. Getting to a safe distance before he turned around, he said to himself, "Yes!" celebrating mildly before he began to panic again. He nearly fainted at the sight, seeing a chorus of growls and a bunch of reached out claws and spikes and other evil looking tools from the diesels, just trying to get him. They all kept turning their wheels likely in frustration, still forcing themselves into each other even after the collision. They couldn't quite get this guy, and so far Dan was successful in making sure it stayed that way. He once again found the island's border fence and followed it. He continued to use debris as cover, and eventually it got dark. As in, pitch black, midnight, good luck now, dark. Dan's fortune continued as he found one more building before he lost vision of where he was. He stumbled into an office room where he controlled his collapse onto the floor. He was completely exhausted. He was forced to give up into needing sleep for that night. And for that entire night, Dan could hear roaring and growling from those mechanical hunters that roamed the rails outside. The diesels kept roaming past the office that Dan was sleeping in, almost as if the diesels had lost their sight. Hours went by. Dan slowly woke up and then snatched himself to attention. He sat upright, then lay back down to not get caught. He looked outside, and glorious sunlight. Thank goodness, he muttered. But that smile was quickly removed when he remembered the situation he was in. He sat up slowly, peered out at one of the only windows the room had, and to his surprise, he couldn't see anything. The death machines, where are they? Did they stop? Are they waiting for him? Dan stood up. He was ready to move, and as he approached the door, he reached out to grab the handle when he heard someone calling his name. Someone was actually calling for him. Rescue? Of course, the rescue party! He stepped outside and saw a flood of people calling for him. He charged outside where some of the search party saw him. There were cheers and tears. Dan was saved at long last! Or so he thought. Wait, he exclaimed. Where are the diesels? He asked. What diesels? Said Luke. Dan climbed out of a mound of debris and looked around as he spotted a shed in the distance. But it was empty? Where are the diesels? He thought. I don't know what you saw here, but we need to get moving right now. Tell me what you experienced when we're home. Dan was confused. He kept looking over his shoulder, then to his front, every other second. Then to his other shoulder, then in front. They got to the bridge, and Dan sighed in relief. Before they crossed, Dan took one last look at the island. You don't hear any growling, do you? He asked. No, none at all. Come on now, we're going home. Dan couldn't help it but be confused. Were those diesels real? Were they all just a hallucination? A dream? The search party was making their way to the bridge, ready to close off this island once and for all and leaving this evil place behind. Dan looked behind him one more time. As the island gate was shutting, he saw Diesel in the distance, way too far to be able to reach them by the time the gate shut, but close enough for him to be able to see the Diesel in full. The Diesel just stayed there, at that distance, raised his claw slightly, tipped it as if he was tipping his hat in respect, and then lowered the claw, as if the Diesel was saying to him, "Congratulations on beating us." As time went on, the bridge was destroyed and the scrapyard island was cut off from everyone. Dan sat Luke down and told him his experience. Never in his life could he have been prepared for such a situation where he'd be hunted by modern iron horses. And at this point, Dan realized there was no other signs of life. Not from the past workers who were there. Not anyone who worked there previously or went vanishing. Only the Diesels of Doom. And scene. There we go. Oh, and breathe. I hope everyone enjoyed that story. And to anybody who was in my LEGO user group who was watching this, you're a pile of turds who dared to sneak up on me like that. Who was it that's who found me? I need to hang on, I need to go into the call one sec. Jamie did. Right, okay. Very good. Right, let's go back to I can get rid of that now. So yeah, that was the Diesels of Doom, horror-based theme lore story for the Triton Lego Railway. Hooray! I saw chat was going as well. So who was actually here? So Jamie's here, Morgan's here, Luke's here. Josh, really enjoying the story. That's good. Who Dan? Dan is the name of an old friend from secondary school, so I just used his name. Jay, same thing. Again, Dan and Jay are two old friends from secondary school, so I just plucked their names for the sake of the story. And yeah, so that happened. Still can't believe that I was not sure. Well, I'm not going to say I was sure or anything, but the fact that Luke showed my stream off 2 weeks ago. I don't think you actually showed it to anyone because there wasn't like the Zoom call wasn't going. But you know, you still kind of put it in the chat. So I was like, you know, great, thanks. You know, a little bit embarrassing, but it's nothing to really worry about. But the thing is, you showed up halfway through the story. You missed the first half. Oh, I suppose you'd have to watch the stream back and watch the first bit. No, don't do that. Anyway, yeah. So that's basically a story that was adapted from a couple of ideas I had a long time ago. It was amazing to the fact that I was able to remember those initial ideas and expand it to what I have now. The diesels themselves are supposed to be very evil. You know, like in Thomas and Friends, diesels are perceived to be like sort of the bad guys. Not all of them, but many of them. Time to get on Zoom. No, I've got 10 minutes. I still got this for 10 minutes. I've got to be on Zoom for like an hour to get my log point though, don't I? So that's not going to work. I'm not even dressed up. That's twice as worse. Anyway, with the diesels, they're supposed to be absolutely fucking massive. So let's take a 55 Deltic for example. Just imagine a Deltic, like chop it in half and but I'll make it like another bit longer. So 1.5 Deltics worth in length, twice as wide, like 3 times as tall, and the biggest damn Diesel 10 claw mechanical arm that you've ever seen on top of that. That's basically the size of those diesels. I am tempted to build one because it would be absolutely massive. But yeah, I don't know. If I can make a couple of sets, that'd be cool. Oh my god, I should actually make that scrapyard. That'd be a cool thing to do. I'd have a Diesel of Doom just roaming it. Look, I'm still going to be away for 10 minutes. 9 o'clock is when this stream is finishing. If you're still going at 9 o'clock, then fine, I'll join you, okay? Is that a deal? I'll answer the questions in their chat afterwards. How many people are actually in the call? Well, I suppose I'll find out if I join later on anyways. That actually went on for quite a while because it's 5-2. Right, I can get rid of that one too because that's okay. Oh, actually, no, not yet. I need to get rid of that one. Let's get rid of that one. 1, 2, 3. Yeah. I've never heard of Roby's horror stories. So I like that a lot, actually. Okay, thank you, Josh. Tell you what, if you want to hear some more horror, well, not so much horror stories about railways. If anybody here has heard of the YouTube channel Train of Thoughts, every day in October he's been uploading a ghost story that's been taking place around railways. Some of them true, some of them just tales, but the actual proper ghost stories based around train stations and things like in real life. That's what I mean, not fictional stories. Actual like people recalling events where they saw a ghost, and some of them are really cool. A lot of horror I've seen has been the same, so this was refreshing. Yeah, I wanted to take away the human elements. There was one thing I remember. I didn't really pull this bit off well. I think it was from the director of Jaws. I think it was something to do with Jaws. But I remember the quotes: "The monster you can't see is more scary than the monster you can see." So it's only until he sees a diesel coming out the corner of his eye that he thinks, "Oh shit, it's there," and he's about to get into a lot of trouble. So yeah, that's what I wanted to try and do, but given the nature of the story, it didn't really kind of work out that way. So yeah, it could be worse though. Right, I think I'm going to end things early. Well, early being only 5 minutes because it's time for me to face a different crowd now. Oh boy. Oh yeah, remember my Christmas bill from last year? I'm thinking of ideas on what to do later this year. I'm thinking of either Thomas Season 2, Christmas at Tidmouth Station, or Christmas at Tidmouth. That's the Tidmouth Sheds. That was the sort of no, that was what was that season 3, like 3A or 3B, where it went from births to like a big open shed. Oh no, no, because that's season 1 finale. I'm thinking. Never mind. Great Western Didcot Railway Station with workmen celebrating. You probably get more attention if it was Tidmouth because more people will recognize Tidmouth. Season 1, yeah, that's what I was thinking of. You've got a really easy prop to make though, because the Fat Controller sits on a bunch of Lego bricks. I mean, it's pretty good. Right, that will do. So I'm going to end the stream here, and I now have to confront my Lego user group pests who dared to show my story on stream. But the thing is, they took a picture of everyone sort of, I suppose, listening. Oh bloody Nora! This is gonna be one hell of a reaction. Right, okay. So thank you all ever so much for watching. Once again, keep an eye out on the community tab for polls and updates. Have a look at the updates that I made recently about the I can't even remember them. Great start to an outro. One was the concert and one was Bristol Brick Show. That was it. So yes, Bristol Brick Show, that's happening on the 19th and 20th of November. The full layout is going to be there. Lovely stuff. Remember to check out the details for the concert over Zoom on the 17th of December. Definitely worth checking that out if you want to see me sing. Yes, that's actually happening. More videos coming out. Again, I've got the Third Giant to do a showcase video of not tomorrow, but the 1st of November, which will be on Tuesday. The next community challenge and showcase video goes out. And on that day, the theme will reset as well. So make sure you keep an eye out for that as well. In terms of updates, that's pretty much it. So thank you all so much for watching. It has been fun to do one of these streams again. Taking a break from it where the podcast kind of took that slot was quite good. But in the meantime, for the next number of weeks, we will be getting some more episodes of the Brick Railway Builders podcast. Once again, 8 p.m. on Sunday, UK time, which is basically the same time as these streams take place. That is when they will be going up. And they will be set up as premieres. So everyone can tune into them live at the same time. It should be a lot of fun. Thanks again for watching, everyone, and I shall see you all in the next episode. If my tablet could behave for a moment. Oh, for goodness sake. Come on. No, hang on. It's because the group chat thing just appeared. It's covering over the end of the X button for the stream. There we go. Thanks again, everyone. I